for someone who is, let's say, a beginner in robotics, or even who has some years of experience, do you think it makes sense to just specialize in one area, or to have an interdisciplinary or a mix of both?
Um, it does depend heavily on what you want to do, but I I do agree with the concept of the T-shaped engineer. I don't know if you've heard that before or other people
Yeah.
have brought it up. I'm sure people have brought it up even in this podcast, right? That it's a T, so you basically have like a base level at the front here, which is like you know a little bit about a lot of different things, but then
Mhm.
you also need the vertical part of the T, which is your deep specialization. And I think that's a really useful thing to have. I mean, I think as much as we want to be really good at everything, it's just not going to happen in one lifetime.
Yeah, it's really not
So
possible.
yeah, so I think um, being broad is good at two things, right? One is just while you're educating yourself, you don't you don't yet know what you like, and I think having broad exposure to figure out what it is you like is super important.
Yeah.
Like in my case, I studied mechanical engineering, thinking that I'd be, like doing mechanical analysis, like stress and strain. But by being exposed to all the different fields in mechanical engineering in during college, I was like, you know what? I think I prefer like the mathy side, the dynamics and the controls, and like only by taking like four years worth of classes
Mhm.
could I even get to the point where I started developing a preference. So definitely expose yourself to that. The other benefit, of course, of the broad thinking is that, especially in robotics, you can't avoid crossing disciplines.
Mm.
Uh, Even if you're not good at everything, which it's not going to happen, you need to understand how other people in your organization work. Like if you're a programmer but you don't know how to build things, you still need to know something about how the robot is built or like how it's designed. Because if if someone designed a robot with actuators that can only handle, let's say 1 Newton meter of torque, um, you need to at least know that level
Yeah.
of limitation so that you can program your robot to keep within those bounds, even if you're not touching the hardware yourself, right? So yeah, you need to know. It's good to learn more about what you like, and you need to know how to work with other people. On the other hand, specialization is important because if you are a jack of all trades, master of none, then why would someone hire you? Like
Yeah.
in a place where you're in a team of 100 people, how do you stand out? So I think having something that you're good at, passionate about, that you want to learn, um, is is key. Like there has to be something that you bring to the table in addition
Mm.
to just like I understand what everyone else does, but I don't contribute anything. Yeah. Um,
But with, let's say, the positions that involve education, uh, so for example, for your math uh, profile, so
mhm.
you were, of course, you were making content mostly in one or two areas, maybe three, so to say. But for a field like education, do you think the having exposure to different roles help, or is it a better thing to be a generalist and understand the best way to, let's say, teach different
Yeah.
domains, or still be specialized in one area?
Yeah. It again still depends. So let me first say that if you're a generalist educator, your specialization, the deep part of your T could just be that you're a really good teacher. That is a specialization, right? There are lots
That's
of
an interesting view.
there's lots of really good roboticists that cannot teach a thing, right?
Yeah.
So that is a skill in itself. But also it depends on what you focus on, right? Like let's say you work in like an education team where everyone knows a little bit, but maybe you're the person that knows a lot of C++. So you're gonna be the like specialist in education to get kids to learn about programming. That is
Yeah.
a specialization too. Like, I think
But you
robotics
have to have
nowadays,
a
yeah,
specialization. Is
yeah. It just doesn't necessarily have to be a technical skill,
that's
even
an
though that's a common
interesting view.
misconception. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because with specialization, we would say that specialize in, let's say, natural language processing or computer vision. But you mentioned that even teaching, let's say, C++ or something could be a specialized skill, and at the same time you have the top portion of the T, right? And
Yeah.
another portion that you mentioned was that, of course, you have to explore a lot of different fields to realize that which area I want to specialize in, right? And so
Yeah.
this is something that I relate with the reinforcement learning view of exploration and exploitation, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So exploring different areas and then exploiting of one of the domains
Yeah. So I
in that.
guess the takeaway is for all you viewers out there, be epsilon greedy. We'll be good there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
That's a good, let's say, summary for this.